So last week, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I think Ritaku told me about his friend who doesn't like Buddhism because Buddhism doesn't approve attachment. So your friend's question was, how can you love, without attachment? So I was reflecting on this. So, and I talked to Todo-san too. So you can love without attachment, but it's more like compassionate love, without control and then anything to return from loving. So it's sort of like a grandmotherly or like grandfatherly love, more like a gentle, like warm love. It doesn't matter what this person does or not do. You can still, being loving to that person, instead of, oh, if he does this, I can't stand it. So that's not the kind of love. But I was talking about the love without attachment. So yes, love is possible. And then the last week, there's another question: is suffering necessary at the end? So, this answer to this is yes and no. Yes, if if the suffering is helping you to bring you to the path, that's could be, it was necessary for that person. And then no, because most of the suffering is unnecessary. We are adding something to it because our mind is judging and then deciding good or bad, or right or wrong, always judging, and then, oh, I don't like it, I like it. So that's the part, additional suffering we don't really need. So our practice is going back to before the judgment. So so that way we could suffer less. So if it's hot, it just this sensation of hot is like this, like heat. If it's cold, the sensation of cold is like this. So it's not like, oh, I don't like this, I don't want this cold, or like, oh, I want to be a little warmer, or so that's like additional, our mind is adding something to the reality. So that's the part we want to examine, and then see how our mind is creating suffering. Okay, so then, there's another question about, why did Dogen talk about noble truths, Four Noble Truths? And he did. So I did some research. This is probably for advanced students. So in the Shobo Genzo, he mentioned Four Noble Truths in fascicle 24, Bukkyo, Buddha's teaching, fascicle 88, Kie Sambo, taking refuge in three treasures, fascicle 89, Shinji Inga, deep belief in cause and effect, fascicle 90, Shizen Biku, the Biku in the four dhyana. So he did talk about this, and then he talked about Eightfold Noble Path in fascicle 73, the 37 Bon Bodai Bunpo, 37 elements of body. So if you're interested in, please read that. Or I would recommend to listen Todo-san's lecture on the Dogen Institute if it's available. But because it's not, I feel like it's impossible to just read the Shobo Genzo translation to understand, because there's so much context behind it. So if you don't know the context where this, the poem is coming from, or Dogen is why Dogen is switching the meaning. So, if you need somebody to help, the Todo-san is great help. So I would strongly recommend. We are going to talk about we were talking about Four Noble Truths. And then today is the last one, Fourth Truth. And so I don't know if you're tired of hearing about suffering, but you can observe your suffering if you're adding something to it. Before we go into the fourth truth, which is way out of suffering, path to the way out of suffering. So, suffering means like samsara. This samsara is this phenomenal world. So samsara, original Pali means the world which needs patience. So because we have a sensory body, and then this world is very sensual world, we are bound to experience, a lot of sense experiences. So then our, deluded mind is always judging, I don't like this, I don't like who I am, what I am, or where I am, wanting to become better or gain something, or fame or money, status, or get enlightened, and then this me, this as it's now, is not good enough. So it's always wanting something, always wanting. So not enough, not good enoughness is our, samsara. So that causes like a no-ending competition. We are trying to achieve, trying to get happier. And then, so if we didn't reach the goal, if we didn't reach the goal, we fail. We feel like I'm a loser, and then that's causing a lot of suffering. Not able to find the peace. And then if you and then you keep doing it, like I had to do more, I had to work more, work hard, and compete, and then win. You have to win in this world. So that's a big, so that's like this is most of the people are doing it, and then they're suffering it, but they don't really know, maybe they're suffering. So even though you achieve, what you wanted, maybe, finally you got the ideal job, or ideal partner, or ideal house, or, anything, ideal health, like, weight, but then you can hold on to it, because this is the nature of, our reality. It's everything is impermanent. So subject to arise is subject to cease. So that's why we suffer. So we transmigrate in this phenomenal world. So this is called six realms of transmigration. It's not like I think this is about our life, and then the world realm of heaven or God. That's when you got everything you wanted. And then human, that's living in samsara, trying to get happiness, and then as asura realm, like fighting God, fighting spirit realm, which is I feel like I see a lot right now. Just everybody's fighting who is right and then who is wrong. The political world is completely divided, and then country to country, they're against each other. I'm right, you're wrong. So that's asura realm. And then so you see a lot of people doing it, and then that's a big suffering. And animal world, animal realm is sort of like maybe a little sleepy. It's all right. I'm just gonna sleep all day. Sleepy. And the hungry ghost, that's again like, I want more. I want more. And hell is hell. Hell. So so we're try to awaken from this samsara, and then the key teaching is Buddha taught 4 seals, which is one is everything influenced by delusion is suffering. So because we have this mind who's which is like constantly judging, evaluating all the time. So that's and then so this delusion, because we don't understand the reality. So the number 2, the reality of this world, everything condition is impermanent, and then all things are, number 3 is all things are empty and selfless. There's no self nature. And probably this might be hard to understand, but we will get to that later. And then nirvana, peace, is beyond extremes, and then true peace. So samsara is always like like going, trying to reach up and down, influenced by the likes and dislikes, want and not want. So the nirvana is free from that, this grasping and pushing away. So Buddha's recommendation is taking an Eightfold Noble Path. So so this eight Noble Fold Path is like, so you think of a wheel. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 spoke. So so each one is important to for the wheel of Dharma to move. So I asked Hojo-san, can I just talk about right view? And no, he said no. So I had to talk about everything, because it's everything is needed for this Dharma wheel to move. So this right Eightfold Noble Path, wheel of Dharma, with 8 spoke. So this is a path out of samsara, this, up and down, constantly up and down, exhausting. So this right, the word right is not really like a right or wrong, more like appropriate. So the right view, right, meaning selfless, not self-centered, selfish, and then middle way. So that's the right means. So it's not like a right, wrong thing. And then also, it's not like, Buddha said, you have to do this, like you have to follow, but you have to see, you have to always, like he always said, like you have to see it for yourself. You always have to see it for yourself. It's not like a doctrine. So it's not command. So this is, you see it, try it, and then if it work or not, it's going to work or not. You have to experience for yourself. So the first one is right view. I think I wrote it down somewhere here. Okay. So right view. Should be right view, right view. Where did I go? Oh, okay. Panya. So also, it's not really order because if it's, some people think this is the one, and then, but it's not like everything needed. So it could be, this would be the end, 8, number 8. Anyway, so I will start with number 1. Kind of fun to write this. Number 1 is Esho Ken. So this show is right, appropriate, and Ken is view. So right view. So this is, I've been talking about this. So, and then I said it in the 4 seals. Basically, clear way of seeing and understanding, and then like understanding, completely understanding 4 noble truths of the understanding what is the suffering. Suffering, not complete, not satisfied, not enough, including happiness, joy, and success, because it goes down, because it's impermanent. So clearly seeing the nature of this phenomenal world, impermanence, nature, realizing that, and then no self nature, because it's impermanent of our nature, we can't really grasp it. And then in order, we said 5 skandhas: sensation, perceptions, mental formation, consciousness, are all no self. There's no self in it inherently. So because of that, we have this, like, you can't really find the entity I, and then because this, so everybody's, no exception, everybody's like this. If there's no self here, there's no self anywhere. So that means, whole world is just zero. The Todo-san always said, individual is 1, and then the 0, because no self. But also because it's no self, everything is same, meaning we are all, one Buddha. So right view also, Todo-san says, it's opening hand of thoughts. Just keep letting go of your thoughts. It's always, it's a good way to remind yourself is completely letting go. That point of letting go, you experience relief. I'm sure you have carried like heavy luggage before in your life. So when you are carrying it and then putting down, you feel so that's like a nirvana. So you're carrying a lot, and then as soon as you put down, like, so when your thought is running, and then when you realize your thought is running in your head, and then when you are able to see it, and then so when you put it down, you feel relief. So that's nirvana. It's so it's and then that's actually we're experiencing it all the time. So anyway, so the recommendation is seeing it as it is, without judgment, seeing it like understanding the nature of reality of impermanent and no self, and then the keep opening hand of thoughts and letting go, so that's number one. I do feel like this is a very important one, but anyway, so maybe I should keep the show. And then number two is right is always right, appropriate, right thinking. So right thinking, free from greed, hatred, ignorance. So, but still based on the principle of impermanence and no self, because we are not really, we are not separate, so separation is, idea of separation is causing a greed, me and others, I want to get something, and then, so if I get this, so the other people are not going to get it, so this, I have to get it, so this separation that's causing a greed, so because you don't understand we are one, one Buddha, so it's not like if we keep thinking, I have to win, so there will be a losers, so then because of the idea of separation, we are a separated thing, that's causing a greed and hatred, you're hating other person, other people, or other country, another country, or politicians, because we are different, we are separated. And so I think this, I don't know, this is Buddha or somebody else, but so this is sort of like the conflict, what's happening in the world is kind of like a metaphor of like tree branches, fighting each other. So it's, it's one tree, but it's, tree branches that they don't know they're one tree, so they're like fighting each other. I think it's also Uchiyama Roshi's book. What was the book title? squabbling squashes. So squashes are fighting each other, arguing with each other, and then they realize, look, touch your head, and then your head is connected to other squash, So this is like this, like our life is always appear to be separate. We appear to be separate, so we're completely believing in it. So we're living on this assumption, but Buddha's teaching is sort of like, well, is that really true? Is that really you have been believing that idea, but is this really true? But you really have to see it for yourself. So that's the right thinking, and so where's my eraser go? So right speech. I'm just keeping the right part. So right speech is so go. So this means word. So right words, right speech, right words. So so based on everything is based on reality of impermanence and no self. So and so we don't really see each other, self and others. So then you cultivate, develop more kind and gentle, true, honest, way of expression, accurate, right time. Hoshin talked about the last time we had this. What is it? The Monday we did Ryaku Fusatsu. So we were talking about the precept, fourth precept of right speech. So this is very close to that. So Hoshin talked about the right timing, if it's necessary, if it's beneficial, helpful, if it's not causing harm, if is it truthful, So it's no lies, not like exaggeration, no deceit, no gossiping, no slandering, and then avoiding divisive, harsh words, to promote harmony and understanding, unity, respect, empathy, compassion. Also, the part is like a deep listening. So you listen deeply to the other person speak. So then you can understand better, and then more you're encouraged to consider impact of your speech over intention. So we are always like, oh, my intention is this, my intention was good, but then you have to see the impact of your speech. You had the right intention, but you don't know how it was received. So I have made many mistakes on like, oh, I wanted to get connected with this person, so I will be honest, and then I will talk to this person with honest, I'm just gonna express my feelings, and then we'll understand each other, and then sometimes doesn't happen that way, and then it causes more anguish. So your intention was good, but maybe impact could be different, So, so Dogen, I think Dogen said that too. I mean, Buddha probably said that too. So the recommendation is like when you want to speak, you want to reflect, is this right? Is this good timing? Is this truthful? And then you want to reflect on that 3 times before you speak. So we have this, we read Dogen's Shobo Genzo Zuimonki every morning, and then so Dogen, you really talk about, this is a book about, his story in his monastery. Students of the way, each one of us should reflect on our own self. To reflect on ourselves means to examine how we behave with our body and mind. Patch-robed monks are already the children of Shakyamuni. We must follow the lifestyle of Tathagata. There are codes of dignified conduct regarding the manner of body, speech, and thought that have been carried out by 1,000 Buddhas. All of us should follow them. Even in lay world, it is said, our clothes should be in accordance with the law. Our speech should correspond with the way. We monks must never follow our own ego-centered self. Never. But anyway, so he talks a lot about not like even if it's like harmful, like if you see like, if you see somebody makes mistakes and then that's mistakes, and then, but if you, so Dogen say, even that's mistake, don't say it, So that's interesting thing. It's like if it's going to harm or humiliate the other person, don't say it. You don't have to say it, So there was another story. I don't know whose story is this. So this monk was practicing in Japan, and then so I think like he was there for like 8 years, and then so this teacher, abbot of this temple, like 8 years, after they've been together practicing together for 8 years, and then one day, the teacher said to the monk, like, well, by the way, you're doing this wrong, So 8 years, he didn't say anything, So also the way we do here is also like we will learn by watching, what other people are doing, what other, what senior students are doing. So you learn from other people's, So, so even though you think a right thing, if it's causing harm, you might not want to say it. Okay, so there is this right action. This right action next. No. Right action is this. This is right action. Yeah. Shome shojin. Shoshi shogo shogo go shogo. So this is right action. right action. So right behavior, right way of moving. So I feel like there's a, so here we have lots of deer in Bloomington. It's. I think we're living in their world. We invaded their world. So we are living in their world. So we are the invaders. But so it's kind of dangerous. You see like a deer on the road when you're driving, and then you have to wait until they pass. So this morning I was, getting my car out of the driveway, and then deer was passing, and I was like, I'm running late, but I had to wait, so you can learn from like how deer is moving very gently, quietly, putting one foot, the other foot down, so very gracefully, um, so you can reflect on how you're moving your body, because how you move your body is a reflection of inside. If you're like rushing, if you're angry, you're not aware, of the surroundings, and then, that shows how you move in the world. So that's, because we are influenced by each other. How you move also influence the other people and other beings. So how Dia moves influence me, because how graceful they move. So right action, right behavior, right way of moving, number 4, yeah, that's so avoid deceitful, fraud, theft, respecting boundary. So also like killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, intoxicants. All these like precepts we have. And I should go faster. There's more. Okay, so right, 묘, 묘, 묘. So shomyo is right life, right living. Some people translate this as a right living, right livelihood, but it's not necessarily just a work. It's not just a word work. More, right way of, living. Ethical, good, healthy living. No exploitation, deceit, theft, respect, promote well-being and harmony, compassion and peace. So if you're like like if you're indulging like like unhealthy food, and then or like indulging in intoxicants, maybe you can think of that, you can reflect that's causing you suffer or not. So as in terms of job, I used to work for a TV industry, and then I realized, well, one day I went to interview a person, and then I was sending that, the footage to Japan. So I interviewed this person, and then, I sent this, dialogue, conversation, videotaped, and then I sent it to Japan. So then I was supposed to send the tape, the on-air tape to this person. Then I asked the company, we have a relationship with, to send me the tape. And then the person in the Japanese, company in Tokyo said, well, because this, the person you interviewed said something not really according to our script. It's, it's sort of like so we dubbed the whole thing. So on the TV, this person says something completely different than what he said in real life. So I was like, oh my God. So that's like, probably all of you know, the reality show is not really, reality. So I was really like, shocked. I was very naive about it. So because I used to make only fiction, fiction is fiction. So we said it fiction, that's less harmful. But when I start making more like a, supposedly factual, segment, we tend to make it a little bit different, sensationalize it, so we get more rating. And then I was like, I can't do this. So I quit that job right after that. So this is kind of like a, too extreme, but you can think of like if it's causing harm or not causing harm, by what your action. So and right, oh, well, right. Where is that? Shows. Oh, okay. Well, that's that, right? Okay. Show. Oops. Oh. Show. So shojin, shojin, is the right. It's called effort. So so this Buddha, Buddha said it, Shishogon. So this effort to do. Where did I go? So stop doing anything like a bad or unwholesome, and then already happened. So then stop anything bad or unwholesome. It hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. So you will stop that, and then cultivating all good and wholesome in this world, and then cultivating all the good and wholesome in the future. So that's the right effort. So everything is again according to principle of impermanence and then no self. So also like keeping that in our mind, effort to keep that, reality of our being in our mind. So then, right mindfulness, shonen, nen. So in English, it's usually translated as a right mindfulness, but it's sort of like this is more could be like a lost in translation. So this part is means now, and this part you might know already, mind shin. So this nem, shonen, means being right here and now, in this moment, being really present. Are you present? In this moment, being present, so being really aware of your mind, your body, how things are, without judgment. Seeing, are you seeing things as it is, or are you adding something? So it's just being aware. Are you adding harm to the world, or you're adding peace to the world? So being really present is the right mindfulness. And this is the 8, the last one. Yay. Joe is right. This is like our, zazen. So, it's kind of like, the wheel. Remember the wheel? So it's sort of like, all of them together, you can see better, going back to right view. So we got to do more zazen. So I really believe, well, I believe, I can really see what zazen is really good, just that's it, So it's so the suffering is a starting point, could be a starting point. So you can start. So basically, I'm talking to beginners, So, but the one point you have to let go. Maybe you might have started. I did start like from I want to end my suffering. That's how I started to practice. But some point I had to let go of wanting, because if you keep wanting, it's the same thing. Same samsara. I want. So you have to let go of this wanting. Then you feel really, you can experience the cessation of this this moment as it is, and that's peace. So you really want to, again and again, want to see the impermanence nature and no self nature in this world. So, letting go of the gaining mind, no goal. Okay, desires doesn't let go of the server. Right. Okay, I think it's enough, right? Okay. So in Zen teaching of homeless Kodo, Todo-san wrote, Shakyamuni said he had found the middle way. This middle way was the Eightfold Noble Path. He taught this path as the last of the Four Noble Truths, the path to the cessation of suffering. Where the Eightfold Noble Path is not found, there are no enlightened practitioners. Where the Eightfold Noble Path is found, there are enlightened practitioners. If monks were to live correctly, there would be no lack of enlightened people. Okay. So you got that? Okay. So there's a Dogen's poem. So this is like according to, we talked about the suffering. We've been talking about suffering a lot. So so this is from Dogen Institute. Todo-san wrote this Dogen's Chinese poem. It's called Snow. How can the 3 realms and 10 directions be all one color? Who would discuss the difference between human and heavenly beings? Do not convey talk of birds suffering in a cold. The lake with no heat of anxiety is on the snowy mountain. So 3 realms are translation of Triloka, to desire, realm of desire, the realm of material, realm of without material. That's 3 world. And the first realm, okay, then 10 direction, the translation of Dasadis, 4 cardinal directions, north, east, south, west, and then north, east, south, east, southwest, northwest, up and down. So meaning everywhere. Living beings are transmigrating in samsara. So the 3 realms for the entire world in which all living beings are transmigrating everywhere, every entire world as the Buddha land. So it's one color, where is the one color? One color is non-discrimination. Yeah. How can the 3 realms and the 10 directions be all one color? Do not convey talk of birds. Oh, wait. Who would discuss the difference between human and heavenly being? So there's no distinction between samsara and nirvana. And so this do not convey talk of birds suffering in the cold. So the birds, supposedly these birds living in the Himalaya, in a snow mountain, and then in the night it gets really cold. So one bird complains, it's just too cold, it's killing me. this cold is killing me. And then the other bird said, oh, okay, let's make a nest tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow morning it gets warm and they forget about making nest. And then at night comes, it gets cold, and then the same bird says, it's cold, it's killing me. The other bird says, let's make a nest. So they're doing the same thing over and over. So that's our samsara world. And then the lake with no heat of anxiety is on a snowy mountain. So lake of no heat of anxiety is also in Himalaya, in the same mountain. So that's So Todo-san said this is referring to the conversation of monk and then Dongshan. Monk asked, when cold or heat comes, how should we avoid it? So the Todo-san said because Dogen wrote this poem in Echizen, which is a snow country. It gets really cold in winter. So Todo-san thinks that Dogen's poem is coming from maybe this line of no heat of anxiety is coming from this conversation with Dongshan and his student. So the monk asked, when cold or heat comes, how should we avoid it? You can see, maybe Dogen's, temple, and monks are complaining about cold. And the master said, why don't you go to the place without cold and heat? The monk said, what is a place without cold and heat like? The master said, when it's cold, kill the akaria with cold. When it's not, kill the akaria with heat. So this is the place of our zazen. We keep dropping a thought, no judgment. Whenever you have thought comes up, it's too cold, you can drop it. And then just cold is just sensation. And then when it feels hot, there's another thought, and you can drop that thought. And just heat is just sensation. I experienced this in New York subway station. New York subway station gets really, really hot. I don't know if you have ever been there, or it could be New York subway train. Right now, I think most of them are air conditioned, but sometimes there's empty, train car, and oh, that's empty, and then you go in, it's just sauna. So, but I experimented. Is this, just what is I'm saying it's too hot. I don't like it. I experienced it okay, maybe can I just be with being hot? And then, one day just I'm standing on a platform of the subway and waiting, and then sweats, dripping of sweats. And that was it, and then I was it's okay. Dripping of sweat is like this, and then just being hot is like this, but I don't really have to make a judgment about it. And it's okay, it's just, this is just experience that I have right now. There's no right or wrong. And at that moment, there's experience of heat, sweat, but is there me in it? There's I who's experiencing heat. Is there in it? You can see it if you need I to experience anything. I remember one time Buddha, I think it's close to the end of, I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't know how old was he. He was. So they were walking on the street, and then with disciples behind him, and then layperson walked toward the Buddha. He really wanted to ask him a question, and then the Buddha's attendant stopped. No, don't bother, Lord. But Buddha can see this person is ready, so he can see it. So he said, no, it's okay. He can ask me a question. And then so this layperson went to Shakyamuni and asked him, like, how can I wake up? I'm end of my life now. I need to wake up. And then Shakyamuni said to him, seeing is seeing, hearing is hearing. And this person woke up. Oh, you woke up? So, you see, like, experience is experience, but do you need I or self? Need it. This moment, right now, you're sitting right here. Do you need to be I? Do you have to create I, story of I to be here, to be here? Isn't that interesting? So I think it's interesting. So I do feel like I don't really have to create me all the time. When I walking, of course doing Zazen, of course, but not just being Zazen, because we have to live, work. So you can see you don't have to create self to do dishes or cleaning or walking, It doesn't have to be I, Japanese, Buddhist priest, walking, just walking is walking. This body is here. You can be that. So it's kind of interesting, I think. Okay, I think I talked too much. Thank you.
We have a little time for a few questions, comments.
Beginners only. Beginners only. Yeah, the advanced students, restrain yourself. wanting to ask questions. Mm-hmm.
Why don't we move to online? Well, I have a question.
Are you a beginner?
Are you a beginner?
Yes.
Beginner's mind?
I'm interested at the very beginning you were saying, you almost gave a whole Dharma talk on just right view. Right? That was because you feel that that's a very important aspect of the Eightfold Noble Path. And so I wonder if you could say a little more about why you feel that way, and also sort of like how right view and then we have right thinking as the second step in the path, or spoke in the wheel. And you were saying that right view, in a sense, is like opening the hand of thought, letting go of thinking. Right view is right there, no self, impermanence, reality happening. But then immediately following that, we have right thinking. So it's like you have right view, you let go of thinking, and then you have to have right thinking. So I wonder how you think about how those connect to each other.
I think that from right view, with right way of seeing, the wisdom comes. So then from right view of seeing the world, seeing the nature of reality, right thinking can come. So yeah. So it's I said maybe the right view, like impermanent nature of the self, and then impermanent the no-self nature of self, and the no-separation is influencing all the will, all the spoke, but also I think it's all kind of connected, So if it's one is missing, will doesn't move. So yeah, it's kind of I don't know, What do you think? You're thinking about thinking mind and non-thinking mind?
Yeah, well, and I'm remembering you also said, when you were describing right thinking, you were sort of describing thinking without greed, anger, and ignorance. So without the three poisons, somehow you can still think. Even though these are sort of like foundational to our mind. So I don't know. I think it's a kind of endless, obviously.
Yeah. Well,
thing,
because it's sort of like in a way. So I think one of the particle because I was looking for what Dogen said about Eightfold Noble Path. So he said, practice is enlightenment. Practice is awakening. But also, you still have to study. So study and then confirming in the Zazen. Zazen also, so it's all kind of related. So because, we woke up, that's it, But you still have to live, you still have this body, you have to use your mind and thinking to be in this world. So it's not, so this is kind of like, like Clark said, it's not two, not one, So it's, it's not like, I got this impermanence and then, self-nature got it, But then, if you're not behaving, or the according to the reality of the all being, non-self and impermanence, you're missing it. So it's sort of like how you're living in this world. It's sort of like we understand the reality. I hope. So with understanding of this view of reality, how are we gonna live? How are we gonna live as a human being? It's like I used to do vipassana meditation, and then that tradition we didn't really have a teacher, like practicing together with teacher that much in that time. So I felt like, I'm really good at Zazen. I'm really good at meditation. So I can sit long time, and I was young, so I didn't have a body ache that time. So I was like, I don't have a problem with sitting 10 hours, And so yeah. And then I feel so calm and great. And then as soon as I, get up the cushion, I have like all these thoughts and angers, or the conflict, and then, well, what's good is it, So even though you sort of like it's really how your understanding is actual alive in your life, you understand the nature. You think you understand the impermanence and the no self, but are you living as that? That's the good question. So I think that is like like I said in the beginning, this teaching of awakened living. How are you gonna embody your practice in your daily life? Kind of.
Did you put the character for thinking back up there for us? I just wondered.
Character of thinking? Oh,
Thinking,
is that an advanced question?
Well, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Okay.
The upper radical is field, the lower radical is
Oh,
heart.
Yeah, this is rice field.
Right.
This is heart or mind.
Okay, so
There was another one.
there's
another one I didn't write. But anyway, yeah. Okay.
all right. So with mind, heart, and then the field, get the idea of cultivating a field, right?
Field, right?
Right. So we're gonna think anyway, right?
Yeah.
So we're not eliminating thought. Thoughts are going to happen. But there are wholesome thoughts and unwholesome thoughts. So if you're cultivating thinking, it would be like cultivating good thoughts, right? Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do agree. Good thinking. That's a good thinking. Okay, so yeah, cultivate. Yeah, so this is the rice field, so cultivating the good, mind. Think appropriately, judge appropriately, and then selflessly think, and what's this? Non-harm. Practicing non-harm. So this is practicing, cultivating, not harming, and no harming, and then no selfish way of thinking. So that's cultivating your mind. Good thinking. That's that. Great. You. Okay, Michael.
Would you tell me more about what it means to be present?
Well, I don't know if I can tell you about it. So you have to really experience, you have to...
It's hard for me to say if I have truly experienced being present or not.
So right now, in this moment, you drop your thought. Right now, just one breath. You drop a thought. Just be here, now. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you have to really see, that this is, I feel like you have to really experience it. It's not like, we can talk about being present, but is that a being present?
So, I know you said that it's much worth experiencing, but I'm going to continue talking about it. Do you feel that, how do you feel, what am I trying to ask here? Do you think that a body that attaches to a certain I can be present?
Body attached to idea of I,
Mm.
can be. I mean, if it's there, it's there.
Mm.
But yeah. But then, so so we are asked to opening our hand of thought to putting down the thought of I mean, you still this feels bodies, sensations here, but there's I nature in it or not. So I don't know if you can maybe experiment with like being present. I mean, you definitely, just zazen is our practice, of being present. Just keep dropping our thought, So that's just being present right here in this moment, no matter what feeling or thoughts are coming in and out, sensation or whatever, Yeah, you can experiment like, I don't know, maybe could be, when you're not doing zazen, you could maybe listen like, just listen, just being, just listening, just being, just listening to hearing, or just seeing, like maybe you can look at the flower or tree and just really seeing it, And then we can talk about more, So if you really like hearing or listening, like what Buddha said, like listening, hearing is hearing. So that can be experienced. And then seeing is seeing. Like if you look at the tree, you're looking at tree, and then, so there's I am looking at tree, but at one point when you're really seeing it, you might realize, or you can really experiment that this subject and object kind of like doesn't have to be there, kind of like disappear, like it's not like you're an advanced student, so so I mean, it's like you have to really experience it, like just being here now, just listening, or just breathing, or seeing. Do you need to create I? It's sense of I, that it's something is here. Something is here. Feels like something is here, but is there entity, You have to have subject object to experience any experience. Well, you try.
Thank you.
I got one. I feel like it's kind of already been answered, but the question that always comes up when I think about mindfulness, I guess, is how do you be in the moment without clinging to the sensations of being in the moment, if that makes sense? Like,
example of sensation?
Like if I'm sitting here and I'm hearing stuff around me, how do I hear it without clinging to the fact that I'm hearing it and like the action of hearing it?
Okay, can you drop the I am hearing it?
I think I can.
Yeah.
Hearing.
So you don't have to say hearing either.
Oh,
You have to drop hearing too.
interesting.
Keep dropping. Experiment. All right. You are advanced
student.
I'm not an advanced student, and
You-
this is not an advanced question.
Okay.
Very basic question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your experience in Vipassana and sitting a lot and feeling like you're good at meditating, and then you get up and you're like, the world is happening again. So one thing that I find maybe a little challenging about Soto Zen is, as you pointed out, our Zazen is just in some sense like the eighth of the Eightfold Noble Path, and we don't really have a program exactly for dealing with the other 7. We only have a program for number 8. Other, I think, forms of Buddhism spend more time like kind of with a system maybe about the other 7. So just kind of practically speaking, what is your recommendation or maybe your own personal way of implementing the first 7 of the Eightfold Noble Path? Like, what's your system?
Implementing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know.
We give Dharma talks. We give a Dharma talk.
Give Dharma talk. Well, giving Dharma talk is suffering. Or listening to Dharma talk is suffering. Maybe both. So, so I think I have to look at what Dogen said about this, but sort of like these teachings. So Dogen didn't say you shouldn't study. He said you have to study sutra, although sutra is our life is sutra. Life is teaching. Its teaching is Buddha nature right here and now. So, but you still have to study and verify, study and confirm. So we're cultivating field from different direction in a way. But I don't know. So this could be. But I don't think Soto Zen doesn't really. It's not. They're avoiding Eight Noble Paths. I think it's the book. Soto Zen book. There is the Eight Noble Paths too. But if this is because the could be dangerous part is like you go back to your thinking mind too much, so then you attach to it, so then you create another desire, gotta do this way, I gotta do this way, so that's going back to the suffering. I don't know. I think it just. I guess like it's not like you don't have to do anything particularly because you're living in a world. You have your wife, newly married. You have family. You have a job. You have co-workers. Sangha. So you always have this opportunity to practice with other beings. So I think just the way of living is, just practice how you live in the world. So you don't have to do anything particularly different. You're just living in the world with your wife, family, children, husband, co-worker, boss. So there's plenty of opportunity to embody your practice in your life. I guess. Okay. Good. Can we go now?
Go,
maybe we need to wrap it up. We have a
Yes.
world peace ceremony.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. So everybody has this sensor in you. So if you are off the mark, you can sense it. You're on the mark, you can sense it. So if you're causing harm, you can sense it. So that's how you can, implement the teaching in a way. You already have everything you need here in you. So try it out. Thank you.